Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel. Guys, we have a very special video today. I was joined by an extremely esteemed and special guest. His name is TrippinB, Trippin Balls. So we talk about SoRare collecting, the joy of NFTs, if you like. There's a special reason why me and Trippin are doing the video together. You'll see that as you watch it. I hope you enjoy it, guys. Thanks again to Trippin for number one, helping me out, and number two, of course, for helping me with the video today. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it.
Well, my club is Trippin Balls FC for sure.
Yeah.
And
of course it is. Yeah.
Good way to describe a night on the town for sure. Trippin Balls. If you're lucky.
So, well, basically we've got together Trippin because you were very kind and generous enough to reacquaint me with my former card, my Reo Hatate, that you'd actually bought off me almost like, I don't know, maybe was it January or something like that?
I think it was March or April. Yeah, it was several months ago. It was when I sort of had figured out I made my first wave of mistakes in SoRare. I bought like a bunch of useless cards for way too much, and then I found like, oh, I actually need to get these guys. And Reo was he was scoring better then. He's actually kind of been a disappointment, but he's not bad. And so I bought like a wave of Asian cards at that time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna fill out an Asia D4 lineup. And yeah, it's kind of funny. I ended up with your card, and then it was funny to get your message just the other day, like, hey, could I get my old Reo back? And I was like, that's kind of weird, but I was definitely not against it. So
yeah, no,
so I was wondering, it made me wonder, like, what was your attachment to the original card that you had, rather, since you had a new one anyway?
So just for the viewers at home, I bought a new one to deliberately try and go and get the old one. Didn't have the season bonus because I felt that was a kind of a fair enough kind of exchange, if you like. But for me, it's not so much that the card originally, like, I left my club with a heavy heart or anything like that, but it is kind of like the beauty of the NFT. Like, I know that card was mine, and I can go on SoRare data. I've got it on screen now, and I can look at the rewards it's won, and I can see that it won me like 3 little cards. It didn't. It won me a Barco, which wasn't actually worth that much at the time. But it's more just because he's been linked to Celtic. I'm a big Celtic fan, and I had the same thing with Jota. The Jota I've got now, I recently got back because of the transfer, but I originally bought him for £11, that exact card, like 18 months ago or something, And I think for me, it is the real beauty of the NFT thing, because, like, I don't know, Trippin, if you play FIFA or whatever, but I know from when I've been on the Ultimate Team, I've maybe buy an inform, I don't know, let's just say, what was the guy at Benfica? I fucking loved him. Jonas, who was a Brazilian kind of striker from a few years ago. So he maybe get an inform card and I'll do really well. And then you change your strategy. You go from having a Brazilian FIFA team, maybe you go and you build a Serie A FIFA team, and then you sell all the cards, you go get new ones. But then maybe towards the end of the game, when you're kind of running out of steam and you're not playing it as much, you think, who are the cards I had lots of fun with? And you then go and go get the informed Jonas from the beginning of the season, and that card, whatever. But whenever I was doing that, I always had in my head, I would love to buy the inform I actually had. If you know what I mean, because even on FIFA, like, even though they are just lines of code, they're not an NFT as such. But on the Ultimate Team, you can click on a card from the secondary market and you can see it's played 1,000 matches and scored 1,100 goals. It has its own kind of stats attached to it. So I guess that was a wee seed that was always in the back of my head, that when I joined SoRare, I thought, oh, that's a little detail that I probably will enjoy at some point. And thanks to you, I've been able to do that again this year,
Yeah, and I'm just happy to get the new card. And I just like you, I'm not a Celtic fan, but I hope he goes there and starts killing it, because a lot of guys have, obviously. Christian Ramirez is for Aberdeen. I had his card. I bought his card early in my SoRare experience, trying to get some MLS guys. And then I'm like, oh, he's riding the bench. He's crap. He's get pushing 30. I get rid of this guy. Sold this card. And then shortly after, he went to Aberdeen and started killing it. So I need that experience of having a guy go to the Scottish Premier League and start kicking ass. So hopefully we'll get that both with Reo.
Well, I think he will. At the moment, like, maybe a little bit of a side chat, but the reason I actually went and got super rare as well, because I managed to pull a trade off with Pavel where I sent him a Paulinho super rare that I had from the same season as the rare Reo that you were having. And 0.2 of an ETH, but so I traded that and I got the super rare Reo in as well, because I think he's going to do, even though he's listed as a forward, right? But like Celtic at the moment, we've been playing with our right back at left back, and then we've been playing and we've been playing second choice right back as right back kind of thing. And the style that he is, because we know from when he's been at Kawasaki, he is an attacking guy. He does get up the front end of the pitch. He's going to be on the same side of the pitch as Jota, who has been absolutely rinsing it, you know. So you see a big guy like this, because he's, I don't know if you've watched Kawasaki, but Reo is like, he's a statue of a man. He's a big fella, you know. So I've kind of likened him to people. I'm like, he's kind of like a Bale, you know. If you remember when Gareth Bale played left back, you know, he's obviously not as good as Gareth Bale, of course, but that kind of big fullback, kind of bombing on, powerful, strong, you know. So
that's what we want to see.
I think he's going to kill it. I think he's going to do great.
I agree, and it's really cool. Like I said, I got your request, and I was kind of my first was like, wait a minute, is this some type of like XP scam, or like is this guy trying to like pawn off his like crappy card on my I think the one that we share now had gotten up to like level 14, level 11, 12, 14 or something like that. And so I was like, do I want to do this? But then I looked at it closer and said, okay, I get it. And when you explained what you're after, I was really into it, because I'm someone who, I just joined the game, you know, February 2021, like right before the boom. Kind of bad timing, unfortunately, because sorry, my cat just knocked over the camera. You could call it bad timing because I misspent on a few, you know, cards were very high priced, and I bought some bad ones. But regardless of that, I'm really into the whole collectability thing with SoRare. You know, I want to know, like, I want to see this game grow over years, and I wonder if in 5 years SoRare's still around. Are these 2019s, 2018s going to have the extra value, and are people going to like attach themselves sort of sentimentally to their cards, you know? And so it was really cool for me to see that you cared about that card that you had previously owned, because it's similar to me. One thing I do, it's in a similar vein, is I've traded cards. I've traded 2021s that I've gotten for 2018 versions of some guys. I got Andy Nahar. He's a wingback for DC United. I won his 2021. And then I'm thinking to myself at the same time, you know, I wish I had some of these 2018 cards from the first series of SoRare before I joined. And I found, you know, he had played for Anderlecht. He had an Anderlecht card. Nahar did. So I did something similar where I like sought out that owner. I was like, please, you know, like give me your 2018 for my 2021, please. And it took a little convincing, but I did get it done. So I have like a squad on a custom squad on my squads, whatever it's called, before they were MLS, because I am an MLS fan. So I've got Driussi Zenit card, you know, the Nahar Anderlecht, Kim Moon Wan from back when he played with Busan, I think, right? Yeah, Busan iPark. So I collect these guys who are in MLS now, but they're cards from before they were in MLS, and it's fun. I want to see that part of this game grow for sure.
Yeah, well, those 4 cards, they do look. I think you sent me the picture of it when we were chatting and stuff, or maybe I looked at it on your club. But it's a nice little collection. I had Surface to Air Missile pop in on my live chat, and I was looking at he's got every MLS rookie rare for this season, and it's really nice when you see it assembled. And when I look at your 4 guys you've got here, the kind of the before they were MLS squad, the kind of vibes I get off that is like the American guys I've got in Europe, where it's like they've got they've got a central theme, but it's very colourful. You know, they're all get very different backgrounds. The Nahar's a very old card, the Druise, the Silvestre, and they're a wee bit newer, but the colour, you know, it's a blue and a black and white and a red. And when squads like that, when you're able to, you're a midfielder away from it and probably a goalkeeper, but once you can get that as a squad into SO5, that's the kind of stuff that gets my juices going. When you see a really fun team that you've kind of laboured over, it's a labour of love kind of thing, you know. And if anything that wins is brilliant, obviously, you know,
right?
Just and for whatever.
The stories of the cards are just so wild. So it's great, you know. I'm very attached to my cards. I have cards that I could definitely be selling for profit right now, for pretty nice profit, and I just don't want to sell them, you know, like a Julian Alvarez that was my first podium finish, you know, that I won. And it's like, that's a free card that's now selling, you know, close to, you know, almost half an ETH. I could sell that, but I mean, it's like, it's free to me. I love it. If you look, I actually went to a guy who does these NFT art bits with little aliens. They're called bit aliens. It's not exactly crypto. It's not exactly CryptoPunks or Bored Apes or anything like that. they're pretty small floor little NFTs, but they're cool. And I like the artist. And so I had him design me a little alien that looks like Julian Alvarez, you know, and I use that avatar on the site. So
I never noticed that until you pointed it out. But
yeah,
the River Plate kit and everything.
Yeah. So I don't think I could ever sell this card, you know, unless I got another one at this point. So.
Well, again, you know, it's that kind of attachment that's what we're kind of mainly chatting about. And the thing with Alvarez, like, see when River Plate, Boca, all these big teams come on, the thing we all think about, the angle is the next guy that makes the move to Europe. Who's the next guy that goes from South America directly to a top 10 club in Europe? You know, like a Lautaro Martinez or a Kun Aguero or Tevez, or that's who you're looking for. And I think when all these clubs came on, I don't think there was everyone went, oh, this guy. I think Almendra, if that's how you say it, I think he got a bit of love.
Augustin Almendra,
yeah, De La Cruz maybe. But Alvarez was definitely not really touted by many initially. And, you know, what form he's on now, everyone's after him. He looks great. And that's a card that, yeah, you know, he's in the River Plate kit now. One of my favourite strikers ever is Radamel Falcao. And if I had a Falcao card from when he was at River Plate, imagine going on that career journey on SoRare with a card, you know, from River Plate to Porto, Atleti, Monaco, Man U, Chelsea, you know.
And that's why the longevity of SoRare, I think, will build that factor, because there are cards that exist now. There's a Falcao out there that's playing for River Plate that we don't know yet, that we might not know for 5 or 6 years. Maybe it's Alvarez, maybe it's somebody else, but I hope that factor grows. And I think it's big. I've heard some people say, like, oh, well, there's no real collectability or sentimentality because they're not physical cards, they're just digital. But I mean, it's a more and more digital world. You know, I have my phone way more than I have like a pack of cardboard cards, you know, in my pocket. So I can use my phone to show off my card collection to friends at the bar or whatever anytime I want. So I think it's gonna grow.
Yeah, I'm right behind you on that. And like, I think like the sentimentality, like you get it from the gameplay. If you buy them and don't ever play the game or don't ever really like engage with it, then you wouldn't build that. But the way football is, you know, like you've got your scarves in the background, you're obviously, you know, everyone who plays SoRare is a football fan, you know, big time, you know, otherwise you wouldn't play it. And those emotions you have that bring you to the game in the first place, when you actually get them back from the gameplay itself again, because you won that Alvarez and then he helps you again, you've pulled a tier one, oh, I've got a goalkeeper now, you know, he's won me all this, you know, that's what builds that connection. Whereas with a physical card, I think that's a more traditional one. Oh, of course it is more traditional, but that's a bit more the experience of opening the pack and, oh my God, I've got this. Obviously in this day and age, you can just go on the internet and buy things, but that's really what the physical sentimentality comes from, is that by chance you got that packet that had that card in it, you know, in that shop in your town, you know, the chances of it.
And I grew up doing that. I grew up doing that big time here. I collected baseball and basketball cards as a kid for years with my dad, and it was, you know, we actually had a very large collection and opened our own little shop. Like we put up our own little shop for a little while. Brilliant. And but then kind of moved away from it. But yeah, it goes deep for sure. So when I found SoRare, I was like, I'm in 100%. I just wish I hadn't spent quite so much ETH on threshold style cards at the very beginning. But you know, I'm working my way back from that. So
yeah, everyone makes, you know, the thing with SoRare journeys, like, you know, we were talking about longevity and some of those kind of angles we can kind of buy into early doors to now. But I think everyone's road is going to be like, oh, I made this mistake. There's always something to be made, you know. And at least your mistake was guys that do play, they just don't play as great as others, rather than some people message me and it's just like some of the cards I've picked up, it's like absolutely useless dross. Just to get their, a lot of people come in, unfortunately, and what they want to do is buy 5 rapids to get their free one as quickly as they can. But 5 cards still cost money, you know, like it, so, and you do have 90 days to do it. People will treat it like you've got 24 hours, you know.
Right.
It's like, calm down, man. Like there'll be more auctions tomorrow. You know?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, these guys will be minted for sure. And the rewards are not like, I still have my first referral reward. Like I still have that card, which you know, another one that I could sell for pure profit if I wanted, but I just, you know, I don't want to. I don't want to give up the first card that I got as a referral. It's a Ferdi Kadioglu for Fenerbahce. You know, he's a young guy. I think
I like him.
You know, he's not scoring super well. He gets in the 50s. He doesn't really turn into, you know, the green scores, but it's going to take something to pry that card off. It just is, you know, for one reason or another. So another thing I'm doing is if you see my Charlotte FC scarf, I'm repping Charlotte FC, new
Yep.
new MLS team that is joining next season. So I worked very hard to track down the card of Brant Bronico, he's like a midfielder, no name. Like he played for Chicago Fire for a couple of years, and then they declined his contract, and now he's one of the first signees of the new Charlotte team. So he's playing with the second division USL side here in Charlotte, you know, to stay fit and fresh. But he'll be joining the Charlotte MLS team when they start. So I'm like, I want to have a card of everyone on Charlotte FC. You know, that's going to be my club and whatnot. So yep. I was making, but this guy's worthless. He's got the red X by his name. He plays in USL. He doesn't get SO5 scores. He might be good again. His card might contribute next year, but I was tracking down, there's about 20 or so rares minted, and I was going to every owner like, hey, give me your card. And they're like, okay, 0.02. And I was like, how about 0.005? like I wanted this card, but I wasn't going to pay that much for it. So I finally did work out. I won a reward of like an Asian midfielder who was making, you know, just threshold type scores, and someone would do me a 1-for-1 swap. So I got my Bronico. Nice. I'm pretty happy with that. And then I went the other night to the Charlotte Independence, the USL side. They had a playoff match in the second division the other night. So I went, and it was my first time owned. And even on that second division, sort of lower level, it was like a really cool experience for me. So I can only imagine, like, if I get a chance, you know, I'm planning a trip to Europe next year. So if I can go see some of these guys, if I can go see like Bruno Guimaraes or something like that, play for Lyon or something like that, or you know, or Alvarez, maybe if he's at AC Milan by that time, who knows? So, but it really cool. And I think that like watching your cards play live is just a whole other level of SoRare experience for sure.
It is big time, man. Like I like Bruno Guimaraes as well. He's very easy on the eye, good midfielder, and that kind of next level of engagement, you know, like for Charlotte, I'm very happy Charlotte are coming into MLS next year, because it means there's now an even number of teams and no one's going to have a random week without an opponent. So that's a very good positive, more matches in a way. But I think with Charlotte, I don't think we've had any since MLS has been on SoRare. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Charlotte offers a great opportunity collector-wise, which is kind of what we're talking about, because like that will be their first ever season squad, you know, ever in history. You know, I've supported New York since they were, you know, formed however long ago that was, but 10 years ago or whatever. And if I had the opportunity to build that OG squad of like, you know, Jack Harrison and Patrick Mullins and McNamara and all these guys that they had in their team at the time, I can still do it now. But if they were like the New York, like the 2011 team or whatever, if you have that full set, similar to what you're talking about with your before MLS guys, or, you know, the other stuff we're talking about with Surface, that could be a great collection to have, because with some of these things, it is about it being a set rather than, oh, that was the backup centre mid for Charlotte. Well, if you've got all the backups and you've got all the guys that played, it's then a piece, you know. It's got the Turtles, you know, just one of them.
Yeah, I think SoRare would do well. They should add some type of like checklist, you know, on the site itself. You know, I have a feeling it'll probably show up on SoRare data before it shows up on the actual SoRare site with the pace of coding changes that I see between those two. But yeah, some type of way to enhance the collectability would be good, you know, coming from SoRare. I think right now it's all kind of organic and sort of just driven, you know, from the bottom up. And I don't know what SoRare is doing. They're basically just printing money at this point, but it'd be cool to see them come up with some features that enhance the collectability on the main site for real. Checklists and things like that. And squad building challenge. You play FIFA, so how about some squad building challenges? You know, like even if it's just like for extra XP, like assemble this set and your guys get, you know, an extra 2% XP for the training instead of the normal base or something like that. Or you know, club shop prizes. The club shop they haven't really done much with since they launched it. So just, you know, I'm not expecting them to give me free cards for getting 5, you know, backup midfielders together, but maybe some type of perk would be nice for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think with the because the thing with the club shop is a lot of it is kind of linked to their own kind of graphical output of what they can make, and then some of it is tied into some of the licensing with like some of the nations and some of the clubs and whatever. So because of the kind of mass onboarding that's really happened over the last kind of 6 months or so, there's probably like a huge bottleneck going to happen one day, that club shop will probably just be totally revamped top to bottom. And I've not spent a penny in it yet, you know, the in-game credits you get, because there's nothing in it I want. And I think one day it's a tap in, it's an easy win for them when they get around to doing it, is making that club shop like a real good kind of little, I've finished a couple of challenges, let me go, I'll get a new badge or, you know, whatever, a top up for training bonus 6p.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
I'd be all for it. I mean, they should develop that for sure. They kind of put it out there and just it's been sitting kind of stagnant ever since. But yeah, I think that I'm a believer in the collectability. You know, I maybe I have to say that because I have not gotten rich off SoRare like some people have, but I enjoy the game and I believe that it has a future. And I think, you know, I think it'll still be here in 5-10 years for sure, and larger and more in depth, and just different things will have arisen kind of organically. Like I said, like it seems like those type of movements will come from the users more than the administrators, which is probably better that way.
Yeah, I think they do take a lot of their cues from the community, which can be a great thing, and it can also be sometimes a little bit of a hindrance, because if they're not coming up with ideas themselves, you know, they're waiting for us to take issue with something or promote something or really make noise about it. And that is an experience for users, customers, managers, whatever you want to think of it as, isn't fun. You know, you kind of want to wake up in the morning and the emails there, oh, the club shop's now like this, or we've revamped this, or we fixed this problem you didn't know about. You know, that's the experience we kind of want to get to. But again, I think there's a big problem with a lot of people's kind of perception on what demands are reasonable, because at the end of the day, SoRare is a company, you know, and we are just the customers at the end of the day, you know, which has merit and strength to it, don't get me wrong, but their core responsibility is to keep us happy, but it's also at the same time to make sure that the experience is welcoming and is inviting to as many potential people as possible. And that might not always agree with individual strategical positions, you know, like, oh, I just bought 4 super rares, fuck you, SoRare, you know, like
yeah, for sure.
They don't care, like, you know.
Everybody wants the game to be tailored to their style of playing, for sure, and that's never going to happen for everyone. So you just kind of got to find your lane in there, most definitely.
100%. And I think one thing that connects all football fans is the sentimentality you get to a badge, to a shirt, to a player. You know, after fall, you know, because I've been watching a lot of football. You obviously have as well. Like, that's not like native to me. It's not Scottish football or English football or whatever. But it's incredible how quickly you can buy into Spartak Moscow, how quickly you can buy into Sturm Graz or Bruges, or you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Bruges is probably one of the biggest success stories of SoRare, I'd have to guess, because I just call them the fanboys now. Like there's these people just rave about Lord Van Aken and Charles de Ketelaere and, you know, Van de Voort, who Van de Voort to me is just funny because everyone's like, oh, you got to have Van de Voort, and he's not really performing too well right now. But but he's two more years of U23. You know, it's like, you know, I got to pay this premium. But yeah, it's fun. Like, I doubt that Bruges even understood how many extra fans they would pick up all over the world when they first, you know, are signed up, you know, through this Jupiler contract. But it's paid off. There's definitely going to be a lot more things happening like that. I believe it.
Yeah. If Bruges did like a world tour and say they went to like, I don't know, like they played 3 games in America, they would definitely get a great turnout at the stadiums. You know, there's no 2 ways about it.
Oh yeah. Anywhere within 6 hours driving distance, you know, people would be there for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I guess that's a big following.
Locomotive is kind of my squad. I ended up with a bunch of Locomotive guys, and and Bruno, like a friend of mine, just put, you know, who I played the game with and chat a lot. He kept telling me, Bruno, at the end of last season, Guimaraes, get him, and I got him for like 0.08, I think, and you know, at the end of last season. So that's one of my success stories for sure. That one of the reasons I hold on to him, because he's like a 0.2, 0.3 player now. So
I sold my Bruno for about 0.08. I wonder if you bought mine. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
If you want him back, just give me a new one.
He needs to move to Celtic for that too. But but he was one of the very first cards I bought, because when I came onto the platform, he was a player that you know, I was already quite excited about for, you know, different things on other platforms and whatever I was involved in, and that it wasn't available on. And you know, it definitely, his price went down to, as you say, like 0.08, wasn't featuring too much and whatever. I can't actually see her Guimaraes, I'm sorry, I must be blind. But you know, or I've had the feeling anyway, that I could have definitely kept him a bit longer and the price would rebound, because him and Paqueta have got another little bromance on the go. You know, they play Olympics together, they play Leon together, you know, and in midfield,
they get left out of the Brazilian side together, you know.
they sit on the bench, but in midfield especially, that kind of partnership, that kind of camaraderie, you can't, SO5 won't show you that, you know. But in big games or tough games, you know, that's, you know, something that's a little bit extra sometimes into your game week. I'm gonna have to put a filter on, because I've went through your gallery twice and I can't see Bruno.
He's hiding in there. He's
hiding.
I was able, another good way to get him is I got him, he was someone's reward. So
was he?
Obviously I'm not telling any secrets there, when you know, like the best way to go shopping is to find people's rewards that they don't want, and you get good prices. So it took me a minute to learn that, but
somebody sent me a message last night. It was a bit messy. Somebody was like, oh, there's a Messi up for sale for, I can't remember what it was, but it's a cheap price for a Messi. And that was my first question, was, is it a reward winner? Is it a reward winner with an itchy pocket? You know, because you know, I'm the same. You know, I said it in a video I dropped recently, but when I sell rewards, I'm not greedy. You know, like, I want to get about what's going, but I have just won it. You know, so if you get a deal, I sell it quick, and I'm about square for what it goes for. Cool. You know,
right.
And that's
probably one of the most liquid things in the whole market is those reward sales. Like that's where everyone's buying, I feel. So
and
but I did check. I didn't get him from you, but I, you know.
Well, maybe you'd want mine. Mine's is the season before, so maybe you'd want the older one. I don't know.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, man, it's really cool talking to you, and I appreciate you bringing me in and just chatting on this, and you know, let me kind of invite myself on the show as a condition of doing that Reo deal. You know, I didn't want any ETH; I just wanted to come on the show, so I really appreciate it a lot.
The pleasure was absolutely mine, and you know, again, when you said you want to chat about the card, I was more than happy to do that, because I was going to do it anyway, because I managed to do it with the Jota, and I kind of made mention of it. But doing it again with the Reo, and obviously having a good banter with you in the process was good fun as well. And to hear, you know, like, because when we first started talking, you were kind of saying to me, well, listen, it's not really straightforward as I just will take the better XP, because like you said earlier on, like you're starting to put more onus, more value, more consideration into aged cards, ones that are out of season, you know. And it's funny how those two kind of I suppose priorities have both kind of met, you know. But the silver lining is that 5% bonus to that Reo you've got will hold through the transfer. So that's all season long, you know. So that's that will pay itself back. I can feel it.
Yeah. Is this transfer confirmed, by the way? Is this going to happen? Or I heard them, they were also talking about George Bello now potentially in that spot as well.
Oh, really? I think it's so in the Scottish press, everyone's saying it's done basically. Apparently in the last Kawasaki match, they won the title again, and he was like, it seemed to be saying goodbye. I think he is a free transfer as of January, you know. So Celtic are tight-fisted, but a free transfer, they've always got budget for that.
If it's free, it's for me. That's the true everywhere.
That's it, man. Magic. Well, thanks again, Trippin. It's been brilliant.
Thanks, Quinny. Appreciate you, man.